Chance here with Rue Healthy Plants, and I'm just doing some prep work for my bed here. This is before prepping this area that I'm going to be putting in some broccoli and cabbage, and I'm going to be making some stakes to hold up this netting so it doesn't press down too much on my plants. So certain ones that are ready to a length that's good, I'm not going to cut them, but I have some that need to be cut. My land provides so much that I can use and not have to spend money on, and everything will just be more in sync with nature. I'm not buying things that leach chemicals into my garden. I've already pre-soaked my growing medium, this is all wood chips that has been breaking down for years. So I grow directly in wood chips right now. I'm just going to start right around the posts. And you want to be real careful with these seedlings. I'm just nestling that in there and just being real careful with putting the wood chips back, because you don't want to break the plant, the stem. Just nestling a nice little hole here and slowly and delicately building around that. So I just finished another section on the other side of my front yard food forest where the broccoli is doing amazing over there. All these I did single seeds in each soil block here, so there's not much having to pull out the ones that aren't doing as good, because I hate having to kill my plants. Not the biggest fan of that method, but I have tried it just so we ensure that we get some plants in good germination and not wasting any soil. Although soil is one thing I don't necessarily use a whole lot of, because I grow in wood chips. But I do use soil for some things, like making soil blocks. I just need to get an idea of how far this netting is going to come across. This bricks will be here, right here. And we want this taut enough that it keeps the netting up. So the bricks will be right about right here. So I think I can get another plant right here, and then I'll start building around. But I just want to establish a perimeter. For instance, like maybe another plant right here, as far as the bricks on the outside. So maybe I'll stay in line with the sticks. Not gonna go too far outside. So like I said, this is my front yard food forest, so try not to mind any cars you hear passing. That's gonna happen. Well, the back is where I do the most of my growing, but the front is my example to my community that this can be done. I'm a source of local food. We lead by example. Like, we don't need to rely on food chains. I don't only just talk about it, I'm showing by doing, showing my work. I'm trying to be a leader in my community, leading by example. So we got some wood chips in here. We got some leaves that made their way in there that's not fully broken down, and that's okay. Just kind of going along with nature, not working against it. Nestle that in there. And I like to make sure that they're in a position where they're standing up, so that when they grow, they stay in that position stable. These bugs are tearing me up out here. I might have to put on my face netting. I don't like to do it when I'm filming, but I gotta do what I gotta do. These bugs are terrible. And I get a lot of bugs because I don't spray. No pesticides here, anywhere. Now I'm gonna work my way back. And after I finish, I'm gonna wet this down again. But just in case, I had to stop early, which I've done before, or forget the water after I'm done. These are in a good position where this is moist, and I already pre-soaked these, so they would survive anyways. It's always good to give it a good soaking, just to make everything settle and kind of marry each other. I'm gonna have to go back in my backyard and cut some more branches up and make some more spikes so I can start doing some of the rest of the stuff. So I don't think I have enough room for all of it. And some of the stuff was already getting eaten up in my greenhouse by aphids and moths that are laying eggs on my plants, because I got a little hole in my greenhouse. I haven't been able to upgrade yet. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. So some of my stuff is not doing great. Some of them, like a lot of the starts that I started, they're not going to survive. It's all stem left. And a lot of these have gotten eaten up. Like this has 5 little offshoots, but only 1 leaf. All the leaves got eaten up. Look, this one doesn't have any leaves on it left. Terrible, man. I'm fighting against insects, groundhogs, birds, squirrels, deer. Fighting against nature to get some food. Just for nature to come and just steal it right from under me. I'll just put this in here somewhere just randomly. See if this produces any more leaves. I doubt it, but I'd hate to just make it go to waste. There's like a little one on there. So if that does something, even better. We use branches, sticks, twigs, everything gets used. 0 waste. On to the next one. These are cauliflower. Snowball cauliflower. We need to optimize space now because I don't have any more stakes and I want to get these in the ground. Inside my greenhouse is a feeding frenzy for caterpillars and aphids right now. Get these under some netting, get these guys some refuge. Going into books, how much spacing does this have to have? I don't do all that. I garden instinctively. Plus, I've done so much experimentation over the years. I know what's likely to work and what's not likely to work. Like I said, again, it's instinctive gardening. My goal, as this being more of a survival garden, is to grow a lot of stuff that I can freeze, stuff that I don't have to put in a freezer, just in case like power outage. You never know if the power grid may go down for whatever reason. Not trying to fearmonger, but rather be prepared and ready than not know what to do. Trying to figure it out on the fly, which I'm not into that. I do it if I need to, of course. You do the prep work beforehand and have an idea what you're gonna do. You know how much food you need. You know how to ration things. Learn how to can. Power grid goes down. You don't need a freezer. You don't need a refrigerator. You got plenty of food to eat. Supply chain issues happen. What are you gonna do? People start panic buying. There's no food left in the grocery store. What are you gonna do? Do you have a means to contact local growers? They're gonna be a vital source if you don't grow your own food, if something happens. I gotta work around my fig now. There's a lot of beautiful things about growing in wood chips. This retains moisture, so you don't really have to water it much. If you're getting plenty of rain, you don't have to water it at all. It has to be a lot of really hot days back to back with no rain, evaporating all the moisture everywhere for you to have to water this. Ever since I put in my broccoli over there, I haven't watered it yet. I don't need. I'll stick my finger in the wood chips and feel the moisture. No need. I put in 15, 20 fruit trees in this year. People say, you have to water it and nurture it the first 6 months while it's there and freshly in the ground so that it doesn't die. But I rarely, only in the very beginning was I watering it. Then I was like, I put so much wood chips around it that there's so much moisture in where it's at that I don't need to. There's nothing wrong with it, like watering it, and I could just play it safe, but I haven't so far. They're doing just fine. They're doing amazing, actually. Keep it going, keep it growing. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put it in the comments. How am I able to do this? How am I able to grow directly in wood chips? Got questions? Let's talk about it. This is how you grow a survival garden. Let's start the conversation. We're gonna fit what we can in here. My kids love them some broccoli, so that's what we're growing. So now that I'm touching on the topic of what my kids like to eat, grow the food that you eat. Grow the food that is essential to the meals that your family eats to the best of your ability. If you can't grow it in your zone, then, it is what it is. You gotta work around that. Find some substitutions. I just recently encouraged my mother to start back growing. I went to her house. I bought her a raised bed because she didn't really want to grow in the ground at this moment. I went over there, set it up, got some garden soil for her, and taught her as I was putting it together. Just a lot of the stuff that I've learned, not that she hasn't grown before, but I'm teaching her a lot of the stuff that I learned and a lot of the stuff that I do and why I do it. Because I'm not your conventional gardener. Somebody just going and buying a raised bed, buying some garden soil, putting it in there, and throwing in some bought plants. I don't do that. Just teaching her about soil health, explaining to her about compost and adding compost in your soil, that's the nutrients. Just about plant upkeep, when to water, when not to water. Just essentially putting on a whole masterclass for her in gardening And since then, she's been now like inspired to grow so much more. Like she hadn't even said anything, and I go back over there and she's growing all type of tomatoes and all types of other stuff that I didn't plant there for her. But I did start that bed, put some ginger in there, some basil, some Thai basil, a bunch of different things. But she's since expanded, and that's amazing. I love to see that from anybody. Really. Just learning to be self-sufficient, learning to grow regeneratively, not just taking from your soil, but learning to put back. I explained to her that my garden is probably now half of the food that I'm producing in weight is mainly coming from volunteers. That's amazing. And volunteers meaning like I'm composting whatever stuff I'm not eating and composting the seeds into the compost also. And I'm just getting back so much more, so much more. Giving back to your soil, feeding your soil. And my soil is just providing me so much eggplant, so much tomatoes, so many squash. So many squash. Squash are going crazy right now. Going crazy. It's amazing how much squash I'm going to have. Definitely enough to last me all winter until the next growing season so I can produce more. Absolutely. No doubt about that one. One of the things I love about growing in my front yard is to see people drive by in their cars and just stare at what I'm doing. What's that guy doing? Oh my gosh. And there's people that stop and they say, oh, what are you growing? Your garden looks amazing. They see all the sunflowers, all the zinnias, and just the stuff that they can obviously see is fruiting, the red peppers and tomatoes. And oh man, what are you growing? What are you doing? What type of stuff do you have? And people just, taking a mental catalog of what's going on, what I got growing. And I imagine it's like they're feeling inspired to grow and to have their own. And wow, it's not that hard. I don't need a big tractor to start producing food for myself. You don't need to have a whole farm to grow enough food for your family. You can do this. We all can. And I'm growing in a way that's just so low maintenance. Like I'm gonna put this under here, put the netting over top, and maybe water it here and there, maybe. And just wait for it until it's time to harvest. I'm not doing nothing else. I'm not coming out here to fertilize this. I'm not coming out here to do anything else but come and get what I put here. Just reap the benefits of what I've sown. That's it. There's no more work. The work is done. All my nutrients are already here. I mean, I can come and fertilize if I want to maybe produce things quicker, but I'd rather just put in compost than come in and buy store-bought fertilizers. That's not really my thing. Compost is my fertilizer. Natural fertilizer. The way nature intended. This one's a little straggler. It's bent over. But I dropped this soil block on my way over here, so I'll just so we don't waste him in case he will survive. I'm gonna put him right there. What is this? I think this came out of soil block too. Put that in there too. Zero waste. You feel me? If he survives, he survives. If he dies, we tried. All right, and that's it. Now let's put this netting back over top. All in a day's work, right? So we're gonna put this netting over top and then we're gonna secure it down with the bricks so that the moths and bugs and stuff don't eat this stuff up before I get a chance to eat it myself. The bugs will disrespect you. I'm gonna go get some more bricks and weight it down. You wanna keep it stretched out so the netting is not directly on top of your plants, but that's the gist of it. And that's how we looking. We got a finished product. We got all our cauliflower and broccoli under there. It's in there. It's all in there. We were being resourceful, using branches as the spikes to hold them up, hold the netting up. And now they're protected from the bugs. And that's how you do it. And this is how we're looking. 3 weeks later, The sticks are holding up the netting off of the broccoli. All the broccolis are doing good. Even the one without the stems is coming through and still growing. Look at that. We got my fig tree back there. Everything's doing well. Nice. Let's look at the other broccoli. Come over here to the other side. All this broccoli is doing well too. And we even got some volunteer lettuce in there from the lettuce seeds that weren't allowed to blow away because of the netting when they were going to seed. There's volunteer lettuce in there. I love my volunteers. Y'all know I love my volunteers. But we got plenty of broccoli, and we got purple broccoli too. So I got a couple different varieties in there. That's why the leaves look a little bit different. The purple variety. You got something useful out of this? Please like the video, share it with people, subscribe, and talk about it in the comments about what you like, dislike, and what you want to know about. Keep it growing.